Here's the project we're going to do today. I'm calling this one Surf Shack. And here are the stamps that were used. This one right here is from Stampscapes Nature Set 12. This was Stampscapes Nature Set 11. The surfer and the birds were both from the Stampscapes Nature Set 5. The palm trees were from the Palm Trio Stampscapes 125C. The shack was from Making a Scene. It's a Tahitian hut M2-058D. And then to make the little patterns for the sand, this is from Stampin Up the Waterfront set. And these are the different inks that were used. I will also put these in the description of the video. And these are other different supplies that were used in the making of this project. And so let's begin. Okay, I'm going to start by stamping the shack, the bungalows over on the little island, and the little surfer. I'm using my Stamparatus stamping platform and also some Misty Creative Corners. And so I'm just putting this in the corner and then button this up and using a magnet to put it in place. And I'm going to use some Memento Tuxedo Black. Actually, before I stamp this, I think I'm going to put a little bit of temporary adhesive on the back of this just to make sure, doubly make sure that it stays in place and it doesn't move. I use this platform. I've noticed there's a little bit of give in this direction, and so when I stamp it down, I usually will put a little pressure on it to make sure that it's butt up against this edge when I stamp, and that will help me get reproducible stamps. Okay, next I'm going to add some green to the greenery, and I'm using a Towbow marker number 249, and I am just going to color the palm leaves here. Okay, and I'm also going to add some green to the grass beneath the shack. Okay, next I'm going to add some color to the shacks, and so I'm going to use a Tombow marker number 977 for that. Okay, now I'm going to give the brown I just stamped a chance to dry, and then I'm going to stamp the same brown onto the little shack here. Okay, using the same brown 977. And now I'm going to give some time for all the markers that I have put on here so far to dry out. And, well, actually, I'm going to also put some brown on the sand beneath the surfer. Okay, next I'm going to stamp in the water. And I have this on the other side of the stamp platform. And I've created some masks. And so I'm going to mask up the previous mask that I had cut for the little bungalows here, I had missed actually the ones that were further in the back. I'm going to stamp the water. Okay, now the rocks in the water, I'm going to use my Memento, or my Tombow marker again, number 977, and I'm just going to color in the rocks. Okay, next for the water, I'm going to use Tombow marker number 443. Okay, now I'm going to change this to my other one that I have the palm trees on, that I'm going to stamp onto this rock right here. And so I will start with Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, now for these palm tree fronds, I'm going to use number 249. Okay, for the palm tree trunks, I'm going to use 977 again. And I missed the green on these palm trees down here, so I am going to now I'm going to use the brown, the 977, for the trunks of these palm trees. Okay, to add some sand texture, I'm going to use a Stampin Up Waterfront stamp set. I'm going to be using this portion to make some sand. So I'm going to use my 977. Okay, now I'm going to start coloring in the sand, and I'm going to use some distress ink. I'm going to use tea dye and rusty hinge. I'm also going to use some makeup brushes that I got from Amazon. And this time I think I'm going to use this size right here. And so I will start with the tea dye. And let's zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to get the ink on the brush, and then I will start brushing it from the outside in. Okay, and to change colors, I'm just going to wipe it off on a dry microfiber cloth. And now I'll use the rusty hinge. Now I'm going to change to the blue color to do the sky and the water, and so I'm going to use my stamp chamois to wipe it off, and then I'll wipe it off on my dry microfiber cloth. Okay, for the sky and the water, I'm going to use distress ink again, tumbled glass, then broken china, then Mermaid Lagoon. And I will start with the tumbled glass. Okay, I'm going to go back to tea dye. Okay, to color these bungalows, I'm going to use some Copic markers. I'm going to use E31, E34, and E37. And I'm going to start with E31. Okay, I'm going to use the same colors to color the shack. Okay, I'm going to use the Towbow marker, 977 again. And I'm going to highlight these posts. Okay, for the roof of the bungalows, I'm going to use Copic markers, E01, E02, and E04. Okay, now I'm going to use some Hero Arts pigment ink. This is Unicorn White. And to apply it, I'm going to use a Fantastics brush tip that I have cut down so that it's kind of a wedge so that I can have better control of my pigment ink application. So I just touch this directly to my pigment ink pad and okay, I'm going to use some more tea dye and this stamp that I used for the sand. Okay, now I want to stamp the birds into the sky. So I'm going to use my Memento Tuxedo Black. Okay, now I'm going to do the palm frond, and I am going to use the Tumbled number 249. Okay, I got a little bit of pigment ink up here, so I'm going to just brush it off. I'm going to use some Copic marker W3 to add some shadows. Okay, I want to add a little more shadow beneath here, and so I'm going to use one of these small makeup brushes, and I'm going to use my rusty Hinge. Okay, I'm going to use a gel pen, a white gel pen, to add some highlights. Okay, I think this is pretty much done now, and so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sign and date it. And then I'm going to spray it with my clear acetate spray to seal it and protect it. And since I've got quite a bit of pigment ink on this, when I spray it, I'm going to spray very, very light coatings, but I'm going to spray multiple coatings so that I don't tend to smear around the pigment ink when I do it. And when I'm finished, I'll come back with the final product. And here's the finished product after it's been sprayed with the acrylic coating. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.